everybody, Ann here. Yeah, I'm having my coffee this morning, not on the porch. I'm inside the tiny house. It's a little dark in here, but that's okay. Um, all right, so very briefly, I'm going to explain to you what happened during the night and the next morning uh, with Betty. And then I have to shut it down and let it go because I tend to circle around thoughts and they just keep getting worse and bigger in my head. I suffer from depression as it is anyhow, so I can't do that. I can't do that because I will end up just laying down and dying, basically. I have to put it to bed and then move on. So after I got her home from the vet that first day when she was on the floor, and I thought she was shivering, but no, she wasn't shivering. She was seizing. Got her back home. Um, that night, the right side of her body started to fail. It was just the right side. And her little legs just would, she'd try and take a step and then she would buckle. Um, and by that night, she just looked and acted really uncomfortable. She couldn't find a comfortable position. All night she was up and down. And then the next morning she didn't want to even get out of bed, and she was just laying there curled up. And with each breath she took, she let out a little sound. In my mind, you know, because I didn't want to believe she was dying, I thought, oh, she's snoring. She's fine. Just like, oh, she's shivering. No, she wasn't. Um, she was moaning with each breath, and she finally did get out of bed and just laid down on the floor and kind of sprawled out. And it looked like she was having trouble breathing. So I was able to get her up and out of the tiny house, and I had to help her up into the truck. And I carted her off to Dr. Harris, the first vet that saw her. And he looked at her, he felt the mass in her abdomen, and he just looked at me and said, "This is bad." I knew it was bad. He pointed out that it was in the area of, like, the pancreas and the spleen. The spleen is kind of in a weird spot, and the pancreas too. Um, and he said this might account for why she was having the drops in blood sugar. And he thinks that she had a lesion somewhere in her brain. And if you know anything about the neurological systems, if you're having a deficit on one side or the other, that usually means that there's a lesion in the opposite side of the brain. And I just asked him. In your honest opinion, what do you think I should do about this dog? And he didn't tell me exactly what I needed to do, but he said, I think that this dog has too many problems to fix. And she was suffering. I mean, you could tell. You could tell. And I swore that I would never, ever let a dog suffer. I had a couple of dogs that I couldn't bear to take to the vet, even when they were so old and arthritic and stopped eating and started drooling. I just could not. I put those rose-colored glasses on. Um, so I'm just not going to ever do that again, and especially not with Betty. I couldn't bear to stand and watch her deteriorate, and I know that she was suffering, so I made the decision to put her out of her misery. And well, I made the right decision. I know I did. But it's been a rough few days. In fact, a rough week, really. Um, but I have to keep moving. I just have to keep going. I have to find a way to get through this and not completely crumble. So, this is the last I'm going to talk about Betty. She was a great dog. She had a good life with me, and we went on many adventures. So, I just need to keep moving.
Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell, and y'all have a good one.